This video is brought to you by JobNimbus, the all-in-one software leveling up roofing companies. What's one habit or system you'd force every contractor to adopt?
It's about what kind of life do you want to have? What kind of business do you want to have? But I feel like there's a certain homeowners who are like, and they don't like that again because now, it's the company who's introducing all the tech into their world and and they're like, eh.
What insurance situation look like right now?
Even insurance-based roofers, like your best friend Lee Haight even know.
Insurance is a scam for the most part.
You're the number one, you're the freaking insurance guy, number one, dude, come on.
My name is Dmitry Lipinski and I approve this message. Robin, thank you so much for having us back. Last time we were met here, not this location, different location. 7.5 million in sales back then. I don't know if you remember, but now $30 million. My first question is, you were around 7.5. Now you're around
32 this year,
32.
25.
Okay, sorry for technicality. 32. Let's stay. Numbers don't lie. What does $32 million actually change and what stays the same?
It's a good question. Yeah, what stays the same is like the overall thing that's most important, which is having a happy customer and a good roof at the end of the day. That's always going to stay the same. No matter how small, how big you are, that's your product. What changes is literally everything else. I mean, the teams you have to have, the positions you have to have, the equipment you have to have, the operational capacity you have to have. I find myself having to change because you become like the constraint at any given time. So like me, the way that I lead, just jumping in and trying to deal with everything myself, So then now you have to, so literally, everything changes. But what doesn't is just, okay, customer's gotta be happy, roof's gotta be on, it's gotta be good.
Great answer. What was the hardest unsexy problem that you had to fix to pass $10 million? Do you remember the ceilings along the way?
Unsexy problems, oh my gosh. A lot of it comes down to like this leadership stuff. Like, okay, when you get up to those, past 15 into the 20, you start to get to the point where you have to have like project managers at scale who are really good at taking care of customers and bringing customer service in. Obviously, some companies have their sales reps do everything A to Z. We have our sales rep and then we have our project managers do different things. Whereas when you're kind of smaller at like 7, 10, you can, as the owner, you can still like run around a lot and put out a lot of fires yourself and deal with a lot of stuff yourself. When you grow, you can't do that anymore. So you have to have project managers down below and then production staff who can take care of that stuff for you. So,
did you grow by the goals or did you grow by demand? Like, did you have goals to reach certain numbers or it was just work kept coming in and you didn't say no to it?
I'd say combination. You definitely demand. Like, we want to grow. We want to, have a foothold in the marketplace. And it's not just because, we want to be big or something like that. One thing that I've noted is the private equity scene coming in and like consolidation coming in on roofing. So, I never want to be in a position where my company is like, I feel like I'm at a size where I'm kind of in trouble. Because I feel like if you're an owner operator, like you're so nimble, you can do, there's such a place for that, like right here and now. And there's a place for like those middle-sized companies too, I guess. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like being like a middle-sized company right now, being like in that 5 to 8 range, I don't know, or even maybe less than that, maybe 3 to 5 range. And then the PE coming in. For me, it wasn't that it was scary, but it was just like, I don't know. I didn't want to be able to be just like kind of stomped out. So I wanted to at least be big enough. So if that consolidation keeps happening, we're able to be a player in it,
Wow, great answer. So would you say it's more on execution, your growth, or more on demand? Because there's a lot of companies in town who are $3, $4, $5, $7 million and they never grow. But you were able to do it. Did you execute better?
It's hard to say. I work a lot. I work hard. So execution comes down to, sometimes number of hours worked and put in. So from that side of things, maybe. I don't think we're anything like super ridiculously special. I think we do some things that are good, I think it just comes down to the little things. If you can just be incrementally, even a few percentage points better at a given thing. Like, okay, one thing we are actually very good at is getting 5-star reviews online, which is a driver of your online GMB presence. How findable are you if someone types in, hey, who's a roofer around me? So, I mean, I drive that like a maniac. I remember a few years ago, we had like, 70 reviews or I think 80 reviews when you first came and saw us. And there were companies in this market who were at 700, Well, we're at 1,300 now, I think, 1,350. And some of those same companies are at maybe 1,650, So they're still ahead of me, but we are gaining very, very rapidly. So, and for me, that's an important one because that's your online presence. That's how easy customers can find you, how likely they are to click on you. That's your brand. But, 5-star reviews represent the customer behind who's happy, right? So we drive that really well from an executionary standpoint.
One thing surprised me as we were walking around the office is you have, core team, you have your family members still working for you. Oftentimes, business growth is almost like crabs, right? Like not crab mentality, but crabs, you have to lose your shell to keep growing. And my question is, what did break? Did people break, system break? Did your leadership break in order to grow?
Yeah, it's breaking right now. Like being honest, it's constantly.
What's breaking?
It's usually I would say it's people stuff. It's leadership and people stuff. Systems, they break, processes break, and we're constantly improving them and making them better. I would say that as we've grown though, people has been some of the biggest ones, and people who, somebody who was here earlier on, who maybe just wasn't the right cultural fit for the company who's here now, stuff of that nature, and you end up, and not just that you let them go, some of them end up leaving for the same reason. You're just not a right fit anymore. So definitely a lot of that has changed.
What decisions helped the most but scared you at the time? I remember you coming here from California, you were scared about market. It was hard. What was the scariest part? But you did it anyway.
I mean, coming into Florida, coming into a brand new market where you have limited contacts. I mean, I know some people out here. My brothers both had lived here for a while. One of them for over a decade. So I was able to connect with a lot of people through him, but limited there. And then brand new, just roofing. I'm still to this moment. I'm one of the larger contractors here, and I'm still just learning about roofing every single day and how to get better and be better at it. I was on the phone with Andy this morning, just talking through just a minute metal roofing point about fastener distance, anyway, yada, yada. So you constantly are learning, and it's very different in Florida. It's far more rigid. In California, it's like it rains, 5 times a year. So, the roof still has to be good, of course, but it's just far less tested than it is here with the amount of wind and all this. So I'd say definitely like learning to the codes and the differences about being in Florida has been definitely tough, and that was part of coming in what I was worried about, I guess.
Do you still tell people that you're from California when you meet them on the job sites and stuff when you're trying to sell the project, or it's gone?
No, it's definitely not gone. No. It might not be the very first thing that I tell you. I'm not going to come and tell you, hey, my name is Robin, I'm from California. I don't think that's a good strategy, right? But if it gets asked 100%, right? If they ask, how long have you been in business? I'll say, okay, well, the company's been around since 1983, but here in Florida, we've been here for, whatever, I think 6 years now we have been, since 2019. So, or it's almost 7 now. But anyway, so I tell them that, and I don't get much pushback. People aren't, The thing about Florida is there's some people who've been here in Florida for their whole lives, but most people in Florida have moved to Florida. So they were in Chicago, they were in New York. So it's kind of tough to judge someone else because most of them are the same, various amounts of time. But
by the way, I appreciate this little mini community. People don't realize what we do as roofing insiders. I call myself a super connector. I connect people of, manufacturers, suppliers, people like Andy, people we travel to. This is so much fun to come back to the business after years and see explosive growth, because so many people, we go there. I feel like I have an eye for talent and for content.
Yeah.
Sometimes companies fail, they close doors, but most of them, they go to the roof. Yeah. My next question is, how did your role as a founder changed from 7 to 30 million? I'm sorry, 32.
Yeah, 32. Yeah, God. And gross, I just want to say this, to be honest, gross numbers are vanity. Profit is what you have to have. Profit is sanity. You have to have a profitable business. And that's something for us, even like just being real, that's something we're working on, is being more profitable, being more efficient, just in every single category. So I want to make sure that's known, because sometimes people see these big companies like, oh my God, let's go get big. Well, you want to make sure that it's the right business model for you, because this is hard, it's challenging, it's different than being a smaller guy in terms of just what you have to do. So anyway, what was your question? Oh, what changed about me from 7 to 30?
Yeah, your role in the company.
Yeah, you completely change because when you're there, you're doing a lot of it yourself still. You're running around, putting out fires, dealing. And I still, I still deal with stuff and
Yeah,
I
you're
still
still
deal with
running
day-to-day.
around. We see
A
that.
little bit, but now it's a little more, okay, good. How do I lead Nick? How do I lead Olivia? How do I lead Tyler? How do I lead them to be the people who are going to put this company here, going to train these people, going to take care of these people? Because at this point, I can't get to them and I can't give everyone enough attention, not even close. So you have to pour into these other people to pour into them. So that changes, not just when you're 30, even, if you get into 15-ish, into those areas, that really changes a lot. Whereas when you're still like 7, 10, you can almost still be like the guy for everyone or whatever that is. But at this point, it's like, I can't be, not even close. There's just too many people. So I have to have leaders underneath who are there for everyone.
So you need managers on top of managers.
Yeah, exactly. And then with that, you can start losing efficiency and, you have other problems. So
What mistakes cost you the most money or time during scaling? Can you name few like, hey, should not done that. That was waste of money. That was my waste of money.
Oh my gosh, it like never ends, man. I like bought this stupid orange truck out here. I bought it for like 40,000, 30,000. It was just stupidest purchase. My dad bought it. We thought, okay, we're taking all of our stuff in-house. We're bringing our peel and stick in-house. We're bringing these screws and plates. We're going to save money there. Okay, well, we got to get it on the roof. So we got to have a loader. We're going to be like the supply. So we thought we got it. But the problem is this is one of the problems. There are sometimes when going cheap is a good thing. There's sometimes when going cheap is the absolute worst thing you do. So we bought that thing. The problem with it is it's a bit of a clunker, like stuff to get to work and it wants to break down on you and then it does this to you. And that's sometimes a problem with buying used and going that route. You think you're saving money now, but if I went back in time and let's say I really wanted to do that, number one, I would have thought more through it. Number two, I probably would have bought it new and with that specific thing and just get it really nice. But what I didn't know then is you don't even need that for what I wanted to do, because what we do now is like with the peel and stick, it just goes into our guy's truck and the guy's just taking up the ladder. They don't care. They don't need we thought we can't have our guys taking peel and stick up the ladder. We're going to hurt them. We got to get them a loader and load. Anyway, so it totally didn't need to do that. So it was a total waste of money. We're trying to sell that thing right now. We've gotten some interest here and there, so we're working on selling it. So that was one thing. We've made some other. You were asking me about vehicles. So again, that's the thing about vehicles. So yeah, we buy cash. Every once in a while, when you buy a vehicle cash, you run into like a lemon. I remember my Port Charlotte branch manager at the time, we ended up closing that down. That, by the way, was another, I don't know to say disaster, but that was a problem. I can tell you all about that. But he's like, yeah, we got this truck, blah, blah, it's perfect. Oh my God. Yeah, it's cash. We're going to go get it. And I'm like, all right, fine. So me and my mom talked, we got it approved. I go $17,000 cash. It was a really nice diesel truck, really low miles. I mean, we looked at it clean. We brought a mechanic, looked at it. Everything seemed great. Good. 17,000 cash. Great. Let's roll. 2 days later, he's on the road and boom. The whole thing, it was totaled or something. It wasn't totaled. The engine literally needed to be rebuilt. We ended up way later rebuilding the engine, and now that truck is in the fleet. But that's the kind of thing when you buy cash, when you buy trucks outright, not from a dealer with a warranty, but you buy them like used on the market. You don't know it. You don't really learn those lessons until you actually go through them. So, I mean, I could list them for miles.
Love it. Yeah, business, it never ends. Something always breaks in a way it didn't break before, and we live and learn. How do you keep a quality and a culture intact at this size?
Yeah, it's hard, honestly. And for that reason, right now, for me, I'm like slowing on growth completely. I mean, I want to grow, but I don't want to grow in size. I want to grow in quality and in dimension and in, what we're doing for our customers and for our team. If we do that, then it's inevitable. Then you'll grow again because then the demand's going to go up. So what was your question?
How do you maintain quality and culture?
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard. That's why, again, we're stabilizing. There's so many different things. I mean, you could go on and on. One thing is KPIs. Like, all right, what is a project manager, for example? What is their product? What's their result?
What numbers do you track now that maybe you didn't track before?
Yeah, a lot of different numbers. I mean, project managers, for example, are on reviews. That's a big one for them. 5-star reviews. We have another statistic that we call value of services delivered. So it's how much roofing they produce in that given week. There's another one, which is value of services completed. So that's done, client happy, and check in hand. Because sometimes you can deliver a lot of work, you deliver 100K of work, but it's not completed. The customer still got problems, or there's some punch list, or whatever. So they run on both of those metrics. So we can see how much are their run rate every week, but then how much is the client actually, happy handing their check-in completed, and then they have bonuses that they get off of that one. So that's one thing that has changed a lot as we've introduced and we're continuing to introduce a lot of comp structures that are really around production basis and performance. Because when you have guys on hourly and you get big like this, it can be harder. So just trying to find ways that we can have them, okay, good, how can we incentivize that? How can we have them on a program where if we're winning, if the customer's winning, then the staff are winning.
If you had to do it again, what would you accelerate and what would you slow down?
I would hire people a lot slower. I put way more time and emphasis into training. Like that's something right now I'm really trying to work on slamming in is our training lines. And if I could go back in time, I would have a lot of that together before doing the scaling. Because right now we're putting it together, and it's hard to say that because at that size, I didn't really know with certainty. Maybe I could tell you I know. I didn't know with certainty all the different things that needed to be trained on because it hadn't all broken yet. So then you get here and you're like, oh, these are all the things I need to train on. Anyway, so it's a constant process, but definitely just putting more emphasis on training, on onboarding, and on hiring. And is the person who you're hiring the right person for your team? Yes or no. And I've just gotten way better of just not just listening to because everyone's going to give you the best news in an interview. They're going to give you the best whatever, but trying to really look through their answers and go look behind that and go, who is it and what is this person really about? And that's when, you start making better decisions because you stop just hiring everyone. You stop really finding those people that's a person who's going to work on this team.
Let's talk about our industry. I feel like in the past 3-4 years, also the industry has changed. What changed here in Florida? We have PE, we have material price increases, we have 500 other things.
Yeah, we gotten hit by a few storms. There's been some PE, a big company, I don't want to shout them out, but whatever, Handyman Roofing, they got acquired, I know. They're a big player in this market. You don't really notice it.
What's your take on it?
Yeah.
How did it affect a player like you, PE buying everyone, consolidation?
I haven't noticed it. Like with that particular company, I know that
Do you compete against them more?
We've always competed against them. It hasn't like we don't compete against them more now they're PE or anything. Again, I haven't noticed it that much that's going on with that company. Maybe we will in the future. I don't know. I don't, most of the other big players in this area are actually still like company owned, like Aries Roofing. That's a big retail company here. I know the owners. They're, just owned by them. Westfall Roofing, it's owned by them. So still most of the biggest players in this area are just like, either family businesses or, owner operator, that kind of thing.
Would you say that homeowners now are more educated or more confused?
I'd say they're probably more educated, because they're the tools that keep coming into play. Google was the first one. Not the first one, but that was a huge one, right? Now you can Google and learn anything. Well, now you can ChatGPT it, right? And you can ChatGPT and learn anything. Sometimes it will confuse.
You can YouTube it.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes it will confuse a homeowner, right? Because it's so much data just coming out. When I read something about roofing through ChatGPT, I can take it and then I have, we do 1,000 roofs a year, 2,000 roofs a year. So I can take all that practical knowledge and then kind of wade through all of this. A homeowner can't do that. So everything is like the law or what have you. It's just harder to gauge through it. So there's a lot more tools out there for them to search and find information, which is a good thing because they can find good, true information, but it also can be challenging for homeowners because it's so easy to just get so much and so consumed and you don't know what's right or what's wrong, right? If you ask, hey, is Owens Corning the best shingle? Maybe GPT, maybe it says it is. And you ask, oh, is GAF the best shingle? Maybe it says it is too. And it's like, okay, well then what do I believe? What's true? What's not? And I feel like what I would always tell homeowners is just pay the most attention to the company who you're hiring. Are they the company who's going to stand behind stuff? The company who cares about and trains and works on their installers and cares about that side of the business. At the end of the day, if you install an Atlas, you install an ICO, or you install a GAF, there's going to be small differences and improvements on any, along the products. One might be better at this, one might be better at that, but the installation is what's key.
What about immigration? Last year, obviously, it's brutal up north and a lot of other states. Yeah. Florida had a peak where DeSantis passed the law a couple of years ago. I remember covering a few stories from here.
Yeah.
How did it affect you, and did it stabilize now, or it's worse with ICE?
Yeah, it's interesting. We have a mix. We have a mix of W-2 employees who are, just W-2, and then we have some who are 1099. And definitely it's, it's had impacts for sure in the area. It's had impacts. I've heard for us, like we haven't had many issues with it, but I've heard of some companies where, they had, 3 of their crews got deported in a week or something. And it's like, oh my goodness, So I've heard of stories like that. We haven't had any direct, like huge impacts like that. And I mean, I try to help some guys. Like I have one guy, he's on W-2 with us, but he has some challenges in terms of his legality here. He's been here for freaking ever. So we're like, me and my mom are sponsoring him. We have an attorney who he's paying, but that we got him connected with, and he's working through his processes. So, if we have a good guy who's a hard worker, good guy here, and we can help him with that, we try to.
And I think, honestly, that's the solution. Like
Yeah.
companies sponsoring work. And we visited a company in Chicago. That's what they do. They literally pay a lawyer to help with they would work with the government to legalize guys,
Yeah.
open work visas, provide them housing. I think it has to come with like sponsoring is a great idea because you signing on a person like, hey, they're like I sponsored my parents when they got here. So when my parents moved in 2015, I invited them, so I have to sign off that they're not going to be on government support. They're not going to apply for, Medicare, whatever, like welfare. So they, if anything happen, it's on me. And I think it's smart because these people, they want to work. They come here to work. They don't mind paying taxes. You give them opportunity. They're like, but they just want that. But they needed help.
That's what I would propose, and I am not brave enough for politics, that's for sure. You know what I mean? Just not even close. But I would say like, hey guys, they're here. There are people here working hard. Why is there not a way to take someone, document them, right? And go, okay, this is Joe. This is who and what he is. Good. So you have 5 years or whatever, 3 years, 2 years, whatever you want to do, and go good. During that period, you're going to work. You're going to pay your taxes, this, that. If you get a DUI, if you get a this, if you get a that, boom. That's it, you're out, right? And then you weed out the ones who we do not want here, get them out. And then the ones who we do, who are hard workers, who follow the laws of the land, good folks. They're not DUI, they're not doing this, they're none of that. Good. And then work on a pathway where they can get a green card and then go through the path of everyone else. Because at the end of the day, these people are here. I can try, and they can try to get them all out. I don't know that it's practical, right? Because, okay, you got them all out, but then more come in, and it's just like, oh my gosh, what do you, and at the end of the day, these jobs are jobs that need to be done, and they're hard jobs that, a lot of these migrants are doing here, that at the end of the day, a lot of just American people, they don't want to do some of the agricultural jobs, some of the construction jobs, so anyway, it's definitely a whole challenge there, but that would be my proposition. If somebody's here working hard and it's documented, they don't have a criminal background, hey, 3-5 years, put them on something, and then they can get their green card, and then they can move forward, if they have a clean record. I think something like that should be done for sure.
My name is Dmitry Lipinski, and I approve this message. So let's talk about insurance. In a few years, Florida changed dramatically. What insurance situation look like right now?
We're mostly retail, so we don't see that side of things as much. But I've definitely I've heard and I've seen even insurance-based roofers like your best friend Lee Haight, even though joking, but even him, like I saw a reel he made recently, and he's like talking about how he's a retail guy and this that, and I'm just like.
Everybody's retail.
I'm like, you're the number one, you're the freaking insurance guy, number one, dude. Come on. But he's talking retail. So it's like everyone is having to move into that direction because at the end of the day, there is some of that happening, and we're not in control as roofers about the insurance or what they're going to do, how they're going to set up, how are they going to pay stuff or not, are they going to deny stuff? Whereas if you're retail, you can just service customers, they can come to you. But to be retail, you have to have a brand. You have to be someone who homeowners choose. You're not just knocking on doors saying, hey, I'll do a free roof for you. Well, that's an easy pitch. You know what I mean? If you actually can do that, fine. Maybe a homeowner will do that. But if the homeowner has to come out of pocket $20,000, now they're going to really select. They're going to go, who do I want to spend $20,000 with? And when that vote occurs, the best business in theory should win, the one who's putting themselves out there the most in front of homeowners and actually doing the best job. So I like retail because I think that it allows like true that, the good part of capitalism, which is like, hey, good companies who take care of homeowners succeed. It allows that to happen more, whereas insurance, it's just a different game.
100%. What's harder now than versus where you started? Like what changed?
In roofing?
Yeah, like running a business.
I mean, everything is magnified, so if you can think of a challenge you might have at $5 million a year, and okay, there was a leak callback, there's a problem with the homeowner. Well, and you're this size, you multiply that, you tend to, because in roofing, no matter, there's just stuff happens. It's heavy construction, stuff happens. Oh my gosh, my guys were they're working on an apartment building, and they're doing a little repair. It's like a $900 maintenance. We do a lot of repairs and maintenance. And they're in the attic checking where the leak was, my technician was, checking the damaged wood, and he accidentally hit a fire sprinkler with his foot, like a fire sprinkler line. It burst open, popped, and it flooded 4 stories. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, 4 freaking stories of water. I mean, this is like $500,000 in damage. So obviously that's where insurance comes in. I've never even had to, this is the first time I'm having to really use insurance on something major like that.
How was that process? Did it work?
It's awful. I'm dealing with it right now.
I was gonna say.
And the problem is that the insurance company doesn't want to pay, doesn't want to go. So I have a good relationship with a remediation company. So within, less than an hour, I had them on site and they were taking care of stuff.
So whose insurance paying for it now? My guess is right now it's probably homeowners insurance involved and yours insurance. And
only my liability is involved right now.
Okay.
It's just me, the contractor, and it's an apartment.
But
building,
who's paying
so
remediation company?
So right now, nobody. And that's the problem. So I'm giving them $5,000. That's my deductible.
Because remediation companies usually will work with homeowners insurance. I mean, I guess they will for liability too.
Yeah, the problem is the liability, just the amount of time they're taking to pay. So right now we're in the middle of trying to get this insurance company to actually come out and work on it. But
how long has it been?
It's been going on for like 2 or 3 weeks, and the remediation company's been there the whole time, only because they have such a good relationship with us. If we didn't have a great relationship with them, they would not be there that long. But we're getting to the point where they're like, hey, we need money, and I'm like, hey, I understand, but at the end of the day, if I start paying
exactly.
25,000 out, it's like, great, when am I getting that back? And it becomes a problem. And it's like, it's kind of messed up because we as a company, we spend $300,000 last year in insurance. The year before, $200,000.
Work comp or liability?
This is liability.
So $300,000 a year.
Correct, and we don't use it for anything. And then something happens, and then all of a sudden it's like, let's be all slow, and it's like, man,
Insurance is a scam for the most part.
Yeah.
And actually, the funny part is, we're not going to mention no names, but there's a guy behind the camera. He flew here. He's one of my students, I mentor him, and we had a call last week, and he asked me the reason we're not going to mention him because he works for the company as a sales rep right now, goes on his own, and he asked me about work comp. He's like, Dmitry, what should I know about insurance? I'm like, it's a scam, but it's a must-have, and here's the truth. Here's how you shop for it. Yeah. It's estimated first. It's added cost later. So we have to explain it, and this is exactly what I was describing to him. Well, once you need it, you're gonna fight for it.
Forget about it. No, forget about it. I've had instances where I did need it, and they just, they wouldn't pay out. Oh, you have this line in your policy, so we can't pay out on that. So then great, we're coming out of pocket. It's tough, but it is a necessity. You do need to have it, unless you're
legally you have to have it.
Unless you're like, yeah, well, if you're Berkshire Hathaway or you're like that big money, you can at some point go, okay, good, nope, I'm gonna put $3 million in this account and I insure myself. But you have to have enough funds to do that. So most small businesses, you just can't.
I'm gonna ask our audience for advice or for your comment. Comment below if you did find solid insurance you would recommend for everyone else, and 2, comment below what you think about insurance if you agree that most insurances are a scam. And actually, you know what? I think insurance is the easiest business because directory, you can call directories insurance too. But my thing is, if I promise to a payout, that's my best marketing dollars. I paid out 11 claims. And for me, it's like, I want to close it within 30 days. If the homeowner is claiming something, I want to be on top of it. I want to pay out. It's your best marketing. If you offer we offer $30,000 guarantee. If we have a homeowner in the Midwest, contractor filed for bankruptcy, homeowner receive a lien on the house from supplier, $4,000. I'm like, send me invoice, write a check, because that was my promise. Why would I delay it? Roofing manufacturers delay their claims. Homeowners insurance delay their claims. Liability insurance delay their claims. Do you want more customers or not?
I know, it's crazy. And for us, we get warranty claims. They call, they say, our roof leaks. What do we do? We go there tomorrow, we deal with it.
Yeah.
It seems so simple,
right? You have to deal with it right away.
You have to deal with it right away, but you get upstream to these big guys and they're like, the problem is they don't have a brand that the consumers really see. We have the brand that the consumers see. We're the ones
and they know it.
And they know it. So they're just like, whatever. And they know it's my problem. And they know that I got to come out or I'm going to have a problem with that. And that property management company, it's a huge roof. The roof is like a $600,000-$700,000 roofing job. Yeah, of course I want to be good friends with that property management company. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I can't just shovel out $500,000. And
Are
then
they
just
mad at
pray
you
that,
for breaking that?
well, they're still working right now. So I'm like, I'm playing the whole game. And honestly, at the end of the day, we lean into this stuff so much, we likely will start to shovel out some money to keep them there so that they don't pull out.
Of course.
Do our best we can. And then we're going to keep pressure on the adjuster and keep pressure on them too. There'll be a certain point where I have to go, guys. Luckily with that, not every one of the units that got affected was tenanted. So, the tenanted ones obviously come first and prioritize, that kind of thing.
I was a cabinet installer years ago, and I built this giant kitchen table for this Best Western in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Lived in Georgia, and it was like 2-3 hours away. So I'm at this hotel installing these cabinets, and found a metal stud. So by all rules of construction, there should not be nothing behind the door, but it was first level, so I was safe. So installing the cabinet, and my screw touched copper pipe. The pipe was right next to the drywall, but it was a copper, so you could not.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it starts sprinkling.
Yeah.
Right. They have to shut down water from entire hotel.
Oh God.
Like to repair. We have to open it up and got the whole repair. The problem with the construction is you don't see those things. You don't see that sprinkler. You don't see that pipe, and people don't understand the liability we take on. But
big time.
Stuff just happens.
100%.
And nothing happened. I mean, just 2-3 hours, people could not take showers at the hotel because of me. But at least I didn't have to pay out. Big bill.
Yeah, this fire sprinklers, man. And I almost was looking at like, man, do we need to have on our commercial, before we do commercial service, document, hey, where is the shutoff? Because that was one of the things is we got to and got it shut off, but it's like how quick, right? Because if you can get to it in 5 minutes versus 20 minutes, I mean, it's a huge difference in the amount of damage that you have. So I was almost looking at like, man, do we need to add that to the checklist? Or is it worth it? Because how likely is it to happen? Just kind of running through some of those things,
You know what always cracks me up? When you stay in a hotel room, they have sprinklers, in the hotel rooms, and they usually have signs next to them. Do not use closet hangers on them.
Right.
And you're like, that someone did that. It's
and
something
flooded
that
the building. Yeah, 100%.
It's like, I'm like, yes,
100%.
someone did that. That's there for a reason. Can you name 1-2 things that easier now, but used to be super hard before?
And it's an interesting thing. So then we talked about challenges, things that are harder. Some things are easier. If somebody calls me and they say, "Hey, Robin, I need my roof replaced. Next week. I got this going on with my insurance. I got this. I got that. I got this. I got that." For me now, it's like playing a piano. Bum, 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 you're done. No. Really. And I mean, I don't say it like it's that easy, but it's like before, I'm the guy. That means I'm having to calculate. Okay. Maybe I have to move Joe to Saturday, so I have to take my whole Saturday with Joe and do that with my crew. And then now I'm going to squeeze you in Wednesday, and I could still do all that, right? But that's kind of how you have to operate when you're smaller like that. When you're at this size, you could just be like, okay, let my coordinator know, hey, coordinator, I need it on this day, whatever. Okay, good. She looks, hey, we can do it. Okay, good. I'm putting Joe on. You kind of have, when you have this organization, you can kind of make some of that stuff happen a lot easier. So there are a lot of things that are way more challenging, but then solving like a small problem like that for a homeowner that used to be a lot harder to solve, now you can solve it easier. But now you have other problems like that one we were just talking about that are just way bigger. So you get pros and cons.
And by the way, problems, I don't care what size you are, how many businesses you run, how many years of experience you have, problems will never disappear because money comes with the problems. There's no such a thing as easy money. We're getting paid to fix someone's problems. Right. And it's just like, if you're trying to start a business to have an easier life and to work less, that's not going to work. I asked his employees earlier how many hours he works. Like, it's 24/7 an option. People think that you work 24/7, because we do. I mean, that's the reality. Well, you don't do it to work less. If someone would start a company today, what one thing immediately they have to do and understand and learn in order not to fail in the roofing business?
Oh man,
say it. You can say it.
I mean, there's a lot of things. Me and Igor were talking about it earlier. I mean, one thing is I would say definitely like learn, especially here in Florida, but learn and know the trade. Know what it is that you're doing and installing. Doesn't mean that, some guys who are roofers, they're very, oh, I used to be a roofer and you're not. No, you don't. It's not that you have to have been a roofer. No, but you need to understand the trade. You need to understand, how this stuff gets installed, what the correct processes are around it. The best practices of how to use those tools. You have to understand that. That's your trade. That's your craft. At least to understand to bring on people who understand, those things. I'd say
there's a lot of sales guys, they don't understand. They can't find the leak, like roof leaks, and they can't understand the water where it's flowing.
Yeah.
They know how to sell a job, but I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, there's a lot of things.
Would you recommend business owner, if you've never installed a roof, to go actually install the roof or be on a crew? Or?
I think 100%. We're changing our onboarding process. So we have an inside sales guy starting right now. His name is Slater, cool guy. Anyway, but part of his onboarding process, he does a little bit here at the office, a little bit of that. And then he's going to be a week on the crew with a roofing team. And he has an entire apprenticeship checklist of all the things he needs to observe when he is there in order to become a better inside sales rep. Like, just observe what the project manager is doing with the homeowner. Observe what are things that maybe come up that the homeowner might not like about the process. Observe things that, maybe if the homeowner has a complaint, observe the project manager doing a final walkthrough and how they deal with things. So anyway, they have all these things they need to observe while they do it. They also have things they have to do. Hey, you got to tear off some shingles. You got to nail at least one shingle in. Just so I don't need them to be a pro roofer, but I need them to at least know what they're talking about and know what's going on out there in the field, so that when they get that call from the homeowner, and the homeowner starts to talk technical with them, they're able to know and have some practicality behind just data. Because otherwise it's just written text and data. You have no practicality to go based off.
Awesome. Let's talk about trends, industry, what's happening, what's new in the industry. Can you name few real trends that you like, maybe like newest products, newest tech?
Yeah, there's things I like. Oh man.
I know you're doing more and more metal, for example.
In terms of actual products, for sure, metal stuff I love. So I like stone-coated stuff. There's Novatic. They're really good. There are a few other stone-coated brands. There's a handful of them. And it's just a good product because we have it there on my showroom wall. It's beautiful, but then it has the longevity of, real metal roofing. Another one is Worthhouse. We do a lot of that. I like that. I like the move to metal. Standing seam, it's been around forever, but standing seam hasn't been as residentially, retail oriented, lots of homeowners want it. And then now recently it's gotten very popular in Florida. So that's a trend that I like because these roofs just last. They're solid. They don't leak, at least near as often and as easily as a shingle roof does. They don't get damaged in wind near as easily. And you put one on right, it's going to last for 40 years. Compared to shingles, it's every 15 years, insurance company, and then JF runs court. He's like, oh great, here's some more. It's like, no, this really lasts, and we're not just throwing stuff into landfills and everything. Not that I'm some big environmentalist, but it just does make some sense if you can afford it. And if you look at financing, I'm the biggest guy to just go financing everything. But if you do the math on financing a metal roof in comparison to a shingle roof, you might find that it adds up for you because it's okay, now I have it done for 40 years. I don't have to think about it anymore. And then now I don't have another headache in 15 years of having to redo this whole shingle roof too. So there are definitely some pros to it.
AI, overrated, underrated?
Yeah, I was thinking about AI when you were saying the tools. I thought you were going to say some trends I don't like. One trend I don't like is I don't like the automated answering AI, the call out AI, because it's you can do all that, but you are going to diminish your brand. I know, because I get the AI phone calls and I'm okay, whatever. I'm not, okay, I get it, but it's just such an easy little button to press. And I don't feel like it's really personable and it's just obvious what it is. Just a money grab. Let's just freaking cold call as many people as humanly possible with AI and we'll see what happens. So I don't know, I think that homeowners aren't going to really like trends like that. We'll kind of see what happens. But I think AI in general, I think there's ways to leverage it in your business that are insane and wild. And I'm all for that, using it to help automate processes, help augment things. I mean, we're working on a thing right now where we're going to take our entire training library, all of the SOPs I've written, and have them in a trust roofing AI so that any team member can ask a question with just that context. Hey, what's the best way to deal with this situation with a homeowner? And then, boom, all right, here's the SOP. This is kind of what we say needs to be done there. and just be able to have that context. So for stuff like that, AI is amazing.
Yeah, anything proofread, find mistakes, 100%
yeah.
give you a quick summary. I mean, I like AI is awesome, like giving you titles, finding answers, like doing the research, like the copy. But I agree with you. We want human connection. Like, if I call Delta to change the flight, like I don't want to rely on AI changing my flight. I want to someone like at the support is like, hey, Dmitry, I'm looking at like here's 2-3 options for you, right?
Yeah.
So I agree.
I agree. I prefer that too. When I call a company and I get the AI or the automation, I'm kind of like, oh, and I want to try to find the person. I know a lot of people are still like that too. So I think in roofing that remains true. So that's somewhere I don't like AI, but so many places it's excellent. So
I was watching Business Insider recently. They have this episode about diners in the United States, how diners are dying, and New Jersey is a kind of capital of diners. Like it used to be very popular, and it still is. And I was blown away. So there's a diner. So the guy have been in business like for 40 years. He has lines at the door. People just like he only have like I want to say 40, 50 seats, but people wait 30, 40 minutes outside like to have breakfast. And his receptionist or right hand were saying like they did not have even computers there. They still handwrite everything. And it got me thinking, like you have this iconic breakfast place that everybody likes in New Jersey, and they just would not have any technology, but everybody likes this business. Like you're talking about mayor of the city, sitting there is like, yeah, he's like immigrant from the Greece, came in, built a business, right? Like everybody, he represents business owner and community member that everybody want to be like he's just one of us, and he's like no technology. And now I got to think, I was thinking about roofers who provide the estimates. We kind of laugh at them like, okay, here's the JobNimbus like estimate or QuickBooks. What do you say to roofers who don't want to adapt? Because that 40-year-old business veteran who still does handwritten estimates. Fun fact, when directors started offering review and estimate service, people would send us estimates. I remember one time, homeowner sent me 3 estimates. It was a year ago from San Diego. All 3 were handwritten. I'm like, what the heck? Like it's like, tech capital of the world, right? San Diego. Like, and now you have 3 business owners because California also old school, like a lot of because you have to have all the credentials, being in business, license, all of that, right? So I get it. You've been in business 30 years, you've done it this way, why change? What do you say to that roofing business owner who just does not adopt tech?
I mean, here's the thing. If it actually is working for you, if it actually is, I mean, hey, you don't necessarily have to change it just because I say something. You know what I mean? I know for me personally, there's things I like about it. I like to be able to go, all right, good, this is my Worth House. Good, here's a page really all about Worth House. This is how it works. This is how it is. If I'm just running around with handwritten stuff, I'm not gonna be able to get that detail oriented on a quoted proposal. I like to show the homeowner, hey, here's damage, like what Sarah was showing you. This is the nail pop. I like to circle it, draw it, write in
Here's my sumo quote presentation.
Yeah, here's how this occurred. Here's how this happened, So I really like it. I feel like it's a better quality sales experience for the homeowner. But, if you're an old school business owner and you're able to, I don't know, do that just with them without all that technology, you're able to make it work. Hey, I'm not going to tell you, you can't do that or you shouldn't do that. I would say that I would think it'd be harder to scale that, right? Because you as the business owner, maybe you have some little magic touch you do with the homeowner. You walk them out and you show them and you do all this stuff to make it even so such a simple proposal, still they understand everything. Well, if you hire 5 salespeople, are they all going to be able to do it that way? Likely they're not. But if you have a very nice presentation that's standardized, that kind of walks the homeowner through all those things, is going to be far easier. So I think that something like that probably could work more at a lower scale where you don't, maybe it's just you and one other person estimating, then, you have 10 estimators out there running around. I think the technology, just being able to leverage, hey, the standard documentation every time that we put into the proposal, I think that it's very helpful.
I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Like we have 2 extremes. One extreme is not use tech at all, like handwriting everything, rely on your memory, on the vanilla folders, right? And extreme number 2, also what I see is where business owner will go and sign up for every technology out there, every app. They go to Expo and now they have subscription for this, this, and this. And I look sometimes at subscription like, dude, you're paying $8,000 a month for subscription. Did you know that JobNimbus also does this and this and this? You don't really need like these 3 apps, right? Like they oversubscribe.
Yeah.
Using like 1% of everything they
I'm
use.
more this guy. Yeah, I'm more this guy. I'm like, right now I'm working on like, I have one that I have my SOP stored and stuff like this. I'm trying to get off of that. And then we're going to be in SharePoint and consolidate somewhere else. And so I'm trying to get off of some of my apps because I made that mistake. Yeah, there's definitely somewhere in the middle though.
But in the middle, like here's what I see. And this is like, it'll be a good soundbite for someone. I think one of the best business owners I personally meet, I'll even describe them. It's people who come from Amish community, immigrants who just like hands-on. And I'll give you 2 examples. I have one guy. He's in Chicago. You know, in business with his dad. $7-8 million company. He showed me how he operates. So there's some technology. It's like Google spreadsheet. He's like, here's everything. He runs all of his appointments and stuff with his dad. They started this company like by the airport there. So efficient. He showed me what he does with the money, like his investment, his house is paid off. And like, so he uses some, but he doesn't use like all the traditional stuff. And I'm like, well, if Excel spreadsheet works for you, so be it.
Yeah, so be it. Yeah.
Right? And then I have a guy, he's Amish guy, he's like a couple hours from Minneapolis. He calls me the other day. He's like, hey, Dmitry, this guy does not pay me like restaurant business owner, like $60,000. I'm like, what's the deal there? Well, I have to do this, this, and that, and you know, he never gave me a down payment. I'm like, why he didn't give you down payment? It's like, because I don't take down payments. I'm like, so you doing $60,000 job with no down payments? Like, yeah, I have no problem. Like, they don't take down payments.
That's what we do. No down payment under 30,000.
I love it, and those guys are loaded. They're just, you know, they're loaded with the cash. They have the money. They work hard. They have some technology to serve it, right? But then when they get in trouble, they're asking for help, like legal help, or you know, or
well, it's because you don't know what to do, right? Because if you really like, for me, I'm like, when I started this company, I didn't even have people sign contracts. I had email. They would email acknowledge. They would email me back, say, hey, Robin, we're going to go with the $60,000 bid, and I go, great, and I'll go the next week, put the roof on, and collect a check at the end. And I mean, I did that. I never ran into a problem. I couldn't imagine trying to do that at any kind of size like this. But you know, it's just I trust that person in front of me. But in business, and it becomes a mistake. Yeah, you know, it becomes a mistake sometimes, and it's hard if this other person is really like just bad news and they're just out to screw people over, which they're out there. And if you're like a decent person, you're just like, you almost don't understand it. You're like, what the heck? Like, what is this? Why? Like, it confuses you. But you know, you're in business long enough, you learn that it's there and what it is. And it's like, all right, you know, it's part of the deal. It's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is.
I think you have to find what works for you and follow your own process. Yeah. Because once you find it, like you can't, and you see it in successful people. Some people, like I remember I interviewed Kevin Delaney. He built Total Home Roofing, right? He would not touch commercials. He's like, I don't understand commercial, but he built $100 million residential company. Yeah. Do what you understand. Like if I understand YouTube, I'm not gonna go play on Instagram because I don't get it. Like just do what you do, but do it really well.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, here I am with my notes. Like I understand notes. I have like 5,000 notes. I have every app I can get for productivity, but my notes, I use keywords in my notes.
Oh, I use notes all the time. I use notes. I email. I do that. People make fun of me. I email myself. I'll have an idea. I'll have something. I'll email it to myself, and then when I get to my computer, boom, there it is. Like, okay, good. Yeah, I got to do that. You know, it's like silly stuff, and you know.
And whatever. I never lose it. Like you can't lose the note. Like I have 3,000 notes, but you know, by keywords you can find anything.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah. I found a cool one. I don't know if you do this, but I dictate a lot now, and I hit 2 buttons on my keyboard, and then I can talk, and it's an AI technology that takes my speech and then puts it out in text. So I'm a fast typer. I could type like 60, 70 WPM. When I do that, it's like 140 words per minute. And I just go da-da-da-da-da. And I find that I go quicker too because I'm not having to worry about typing. I'm just expressing the thought, expressing the thing in the email. And that's sped me up a lot, little things.
Have you tried Plod?
What's that?
So it's an app, so you can wear like a necklace or like a watch. So he has it, so pretty much it's like right now he's recording it
AI recording device.
AI
I've
recording,
heard of it.
but it'll go or do the best thing ever. So Eager did. I bought it for Eager and all of my team members for Expo. So I'm talking to you. Let's say we have a business meeting, 30 minutes. So we have a partner in China. So we would have a conversation with like manufacturer. That thing records the whole conversation and summarize it. So like summary, like key takeaways.
Like Firefly, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you can send it to whoever.
And you can, Igor would send it to my business partner in China. Dimitri just met with this manufacturer. Here's what they discussed. Here's like it'll analyze it. I'll put bullet points, the whole thing.
I think that is so cool. And I want to implement that. This is one of those things where you're talking about technology and for it or against it. Like I would love to implement something like that. I've thought about it for our in-home sales reps, right? Like I want to do that 100%.
Rela does it. Sales Ask does it.
Right. The thing I'm concerned about, maybe I'm concerned about something I haven't even tried yet, is I'm concerned about telling a homeowner, oh, hey, by the way, we record this conversation, blah, blah, blah. Like you can give them a very clean reason for it. But I feel like there's a certain homeowners who are like, you know, and they don't like that again, because now, oh, it's the company who's introducing all the tech into their world and and they're like, eh. So, you know, it's like, man, there's all these pros, but then there's that con. But I might trial it, like, you know, have a rep do it for a few weeks and just kind of see what the feel is with the homeowner, see if it has any bad impact or any really good impacts. I mean, the good impacts are great. We can see if they're following the process, the script, and what the homeowners are objecting. And
I want to change your mind on it.
Change it.
So number one, if we used to, like as far as customer experiences, like when you call someone and they say like this call might be recorded, does it turn you off?
No.
You understand,
Yeah.
right?
Especially if it's a legitimate business.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So
like we have to do that on ours, yeah.
Exactly. So if I walk in and let's say I have something on my watch, so, oh, by the way, I have this AI device that just records me, so for training purposes, right? Here's the thing. From training purposes, like I don't know if you've ever done it. I've done it when I had Storm Group Roofing. I would listen to the phone calls, like anybody who answered my phone calls in the office, I would listen with her or him how he took a phone call. When people listen to themselves on audio or video, like I actually get this feedback from people I get like all the time. They're like, why do I sit like that? Why do I talk like that? Oh, I'm fat. Like I need to hit the gym, right? Yeah. When we see ourselves on camera, like we're so picky about our performance. Yeah, always like, oh, I did not know. Like you need to hear yourself talk. You need to see yourself how you look if someone films you. And also, when you see a transcription of your sales appointment, if I'm in sales, I want AI. Like if I would be in sales today, I want an AI to analyze what is it that I do and what can I improve.
Right.
Because you're just talking, no difference than talking to ChatGPT. Right. Hey, here's my transcript. I've been there for 30 minutes. What could I do different? Oh, Dimitri, you know, your icebreaker is 7 minutes. You know, or you didn't offer them financing.
Right.
Because
and you can put in the standards. Hey, this is the standard process we want to do. Compare it to this.
Exactly.
You know?
And people who truly want to improve, they have no problem with it. Yeah. It's people who are insecure, who don't like, but most people, they're okay with it. It's embarrassing. It's the hardest thing ever to like, I hate listening to myself. I hate watching my videos. It's embarrassing. Like truly, like to this day, if I watch my older videos, even and older is like 1 week and older, like I'm like, why do you talk like that? Because I hear.
I remember the first video I saw of you. I was training. I was training for my Florida roofing exam, right? And I was training. I was like, let me Google, you know, like training for Florida roofing exam. That's it. And then your video popped up because you were training at the time to put Storm Group in Orlando. And I was like, good, I'll watch this guy. And then I remember I watched that video. So anyway,
it's just like, but it makes us better. So like that AI thing, that's a tech for me that I'm implementing right now.
Okay. I'll take it. Yeah, we might give it a shot. I think there's a lot of value there for sure.
I'll send you also few companies who does it like for you on subscription base, but they're awesome too. What's one habit or system you'd force every contractor to adopt?
Force every contractor to adopt. Oh man, there's a lot. One thing is just good follow up. Good follow up is so important. So like what we do is we have follow up boards in our CRM where basically they have to follow up. And then they have to put in the next date. They're going to do the next follow-up every single time. They have to put whatever the customer's objection is, whatever the next step is, just standardly. And then the inside sales team really, really dials in and makes sure that is happening. Because that is where you as a roofing business are going to lose a lot of your sales volume and a lot of just your revenue is through follow-up, where other contractors are following up really well and you're just not. And then you can do automated and stuff like that. But just putting in really good follow-up systems is really important.
What would you tell contractor who is very, very hungry and want to be where you're at? Just does not know how to get there. So maybe someone smaller and kind of envy you in the, like, I know it's a bad word, but
Yeah, I wouldn't, I don't know. I don't know if I would envy, somebody, because it's really just, again, like I said earlier, it's about what kind of life do you want to have? What kind of business do you want to have? Okay, so if you go, I want to have that kind of business, well, then you might have to have this kind of life. You might not want to have that kind of life because you're gonna have to work your butt off and you're gonna have to be a certain kind of person to do that. I don't even say it's a better person or it's anything. It is what it is, right? So, I really, on that, I would look at and confront, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What do you want to do? And you might find that it actually isn't that, which maybe is why you're the $5 million a year contractor, because maybe that's a better lifestyle for you. It's not like a one size fits all thing. So I would, figure out what you actually want, and then you reverse engineer it from there. So if you go, all right, I want a $30 million roofing company, which is what we got here, then you just reverse engineer. You go, okay, how many sales reps is that? All right, well, it depends on how much they're doing in a year. Let's say they're doing 2 million each. All right, so it's 15. And you need to start reverse engineering it. You're not going to get there overnight, but you're going to take baby steps. And you're going to go from there. A lot of the time someone, maybe they might say they want that, but they don't actually, if you look at their actions and activities, and it's like, okay, good. That person actually wants a $5 million a year business. They're not willing to do what it takes to get to that next step.
man, love it. Do you even have work-life balance? Do you think you have a baby 2 months ago? Like, do you have?
I don't, man. I'm sitting there with, I took my wife, I have some, I took my wife to an appointment the other day. This was yesterday. And we're sitting there with our midwife who helped us, give birth to our baby. We're doing like a post appointment, what have you. And the midwife looks at us. The midwife is like, she kind of starts grilling me. Not like bad, but she's like, Robin, I'm sitting there on my phone, like answering freaking emails. We're in this appointment and I'm just sitting here working. She's like, Robin, I don't think I've ever sat with you where your attention wasn't off on work. And she's just like grilling me. And I kind of told her, I said, look, hey, I get it. I love my wife and my baby more than absolutely anything else. But I'm like, at the same time, if I let my team down, I have 70 people there who I have to, take care of and make sure do well. And in order to, also take care of them. So, she kind of got it, but it is hard, definitely. And my wife, definitely, if you were to ask her, she would say, yeah, he has no work-life balance. So anyway.
There's no balance. It's all work and just a little bit of family, sprinklers of family there.
Yeah.
No, but we're there for them when they need us. I'm pretty sure if your kid gets sick tomorrow,
I'd be there. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
You had a lot of motivational quotes in your office, Kobe Bryant and a few others. Yeah. If you had to summarize your success in one sentence, that it's not like nonsense, but like solid quote that we can put on a wall, what would it be? Give me a good quote by Robin Scherer.
Oh gosh. Good quote to put on the wall. I have a few of them in there that I really like, but one by me. This isn't my quote. You can achieve great things if you decide to, and that's obviously very, a trout or trite or whatever you would call it, but you really can. If you decide and set your mind on achieving something special, and again, you're willing to put in the work, you can, anybody can, I don't care who or what you are, what background you're in, you really can. This is a great country to do it, despite some of the, whatever's of it, which we talked about earlier, still, in my opinion, greatest country in the world, and there's a lot of opportunity out there, so.
Yeah, I approve that message. Good job, brother. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
man. Appreciate it.